Please don't tell me about your previous drug problems.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jason Chambers, Recycle Guru. What are we talking about today? Wouldn't it be great if you could get inside a customer's mind before they even get to the dealership and kind of see their thinking and their process and how they're thinking certain things and how they want to have certain things done? Well, today we're going to do exactly that. So what I do is I recruit a lot of people from the outside. After you're recruited, you get trained for several weeks before you go belly to belly with a customer. But guess what I do? I bring in customers from the outside world where the new salespeople get to ask them questions. Get to ask them, what do you like about coming to a dealership? What do you not like about coming to a dealership? If you could do it your way, how would you do it? So you get to see the insights of how it is for a customer from their shoes. I think it's vital. You're not going to want to miss this video. We're doing it from the customer standpoint. So I'm going to start watching this video and I'm going to just give you insight as we go. So let's start doing it.
So what do you think before you come to the car dealership? What do you guys kind of talk about? Like you and the family or whoever's coming with you?
I do a lot of online research and I pretty much know the type of vehicle I want and what price range, and I usually know roundabout the value of my trade, whether it's trade-in value or sold privately.
When you trade in, does that take a lot of the pressure off? Like, is that why you trade in, or compared to selling it outright, like trying to get a buyer and go through all that?
So the salesman asks a simple question. What do you do before you even get to the dealership? So what do you talk about before you even decide to go to a dealership? These are the things that we must know, but yes, we've been trained on them. Our managers have told us about them, but what does she tell us? She tells us, I've done my research. I know my figures, I'm getting an idea of some pricing on what I want, and I'm getting ideas of what my trade's worth, okay? Trade-in value and resale value. So she's telling you that she's doing her research. And that's key. Know that customers come in and they've done their research. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. The average customer, they say, is 13.5 hours or something online before they even show up to a dealership. This confirms that data. And this is just one of many customers. So let's go on.
Yeah,
So
it's just easier to trade in.
So you just look for a fair price on one, right? You know where it should be, so if we get around that numbers and...
Yeah, and you know, I should want it to be like excellent trade-in value, but I understand that it has to go a little lower.
Right.
I don't know if every customer understands that.
So what does she say? He simply asks, so trading your vehicle, and do you feel like that's a better, easier, more comfortable situation, right? And she says, yes, it's a lot easier to do it at the dealership, okay? I might sell it outright, maybe is what she was thinking, but it's a lot easier to do it at the dealership. And listen, she even says, I understand it's not going to, I'd love it to be at excellent value, but I understand it has to go below that. So here's really what needs to happen in this situation right here. Know that when you walk up to that customer, most likely they've done research and just a couple questions you can ask to find that out. But know they've done their research. Know that they understand that their vehicle, they may bring in that excellent trade-in value paper, okay, NADA paperwork, but they know in their head that they're gonna have to take less than that, okay? So just know that going into the game. Know that they have that in their mindset. This is the stuff she's done before she's even showed up to the dealership. Well,
You know, we always call car dealers flies in our house because they all converge.
so the question was simply, you didn't get the question on here, but I asked, you know, how do you feel about the approach? When you pull in the lot and they come up to you, how do you feel about the approach? And she just says simply, listen, I'm going to a dealership. People know that when they go to the dealership, you have to be approached in order to be helped. They don't like it. She tells us that, and we know that, right? Because our managers, our trainers, they always told us. They don't like us, they don't trust us, they don't know us yet, right? She tells us that. Listen, we always joke at the house, we call car salesmen flies because they all converge, right? Well, your job is to change that, and you're gonna hear it, right? Your job is to change the way you approach. But they know they have to be approached. Just know that. Just know that right off the bat.
Out of your vehicle, look around, and just approach you and introduce themselves, and just give you a proper greeting.
Yeah, introduce yourself like you're walking up to like an old friend. Please don't run up on me with a golf cart.
Okay. So he asked, how would you feel comfortable with somebody just coming up to you when you first pull on the lot, just going up to you and just giving you a professional greeting? And she says simply this: yes, go up to them and talk to them like they are an old friend. Just be normal, right? An old friend, and that is vital. That is vital to your greeting. Now, you must have a greeting, obviously, but you need to know that going up to somebody and being as natural as possible is what has to happen. You need to be you. You need to be normal, okay? And let's not forget what else she says. Please do not approach me or chase me down on a golf cart. That is a huge complaint that I talk to a lot of customers, and that is a huge complaint. Golf carts kill deals. Okay, nobody wants to be right away. They pull into the lot and instantly you put pressure on them. How? Because you get in pursuit with them on a damn golf cart. Are you kidding me? Listen, if you don't have problems getting around, stay off the golf carts. If you don't have a customer that has problems getting around, stay off the golf carts. Golf carts kill your deals. Stay away from them. They're telling us this. This is just one of many. She's saying, do not chase me with a golf cart. Let's move on.
Talk about the look of the salesperson. What would make you uncomfortable? The look, the professionalism versus, I mean, what's going to catch your eye versus hurt your eye with the looks? I'm talking beards, I'm talking smells, I'm talking all of it. What's the best advice you can give them? You can be brutally honest with them because it's me and I've been brutally honest with them all week.
Don't smoke.
You hear that, Vaughn?
Yeah. Yeah, don't smoke.
Okay, so the first question, I asked her simply this. Let's talk about the look of the salesperson. Okay, and you know, she didn't even mention the look first. She mentioned the hygiene. What did she say? I said, what's the number one thing you could give advice on? I was talking about the look, right? She didn't even mention the look, so let's pay attention to what she says. And trust me, she's one of many. Here it is. Don't smoke. Listen, if you smoke, I get it. I was raised with a smoker. I don't smoke, but I understand because I can smell smoke from a mile away. So I understand her standpoint because she is not a smoker, okay? So I understand both sides. But listen, she tells you don't smoke. Whatever you do, don't smoke. And if you do smoke, get some gum, get some mint. I don't know if it's on this footage, but she said literally just drown yourself in gum, drown yourself in mints. Try to keep that cigarette smoke away. And you want to. If you do smoke, nothing wrong with it, I guess, but if you suck down the cigarettes, whatever, you need to make sure the wind's blowing away from you, A, you're not seen by customers, B, you need to get your ass back inside, wash your hands, wash your face, put some gum in your mouth, and that way that smell is not on you because it is a deal killer. They tell us this. That's the first thing she said, and I was talking about looks. She went straight to the hygiene, straight to the hygiene. Let's move on.
Febreze, mouthwash, do whatever you gotta do. But don't walk up on that customer like you've just smoked a cigarette. Because it's off-putting to a lot of people. They can be some of the most knowledgeable ones out there, but it's kind of off-putting. Make sure
She even says they can be some of the most knowledgeable people out there, but it can be off-putting if you stink like cigarette smoke. So you could be the expert in the product. You could be really great at your process and your road to the sale. You could be sharp, but one stupid thing could hurt you, and that's hygiene. That's the way you smell. Nobody likes cigarette smokes. Nobody likes the way they smell. Not that I know of. Listen, if you do smoke, button it up and keep yourself clean. Wash your hands, wash your face, smoke with the wind blowing away from you. Don't smoke around other smokers, and you should be fine. But it is off-putting. Let's go on.
clothes are clean, basically being clean, and if you're gonna wear cologne or perfume,
Don't swim in it.
Keep it kind of,
Mild.
that's what I'm looking for.
So, what else she's saying? Keep your clothes clean. Just be clean. Listen, don't look like your shirt's made of paper mache. Iron your shirt, right? Or at least make sure there's no wrinkles in it. Okay? Make sure you're the same with your pants. Make sure you're clean, is all she's saying. And if you wear cologne or perfume, just make sure you don't swim in it. Make sure it's not overbearing. Okay? Less is more sometimes. Let's move on.
I mean, there's such a stigma with car salesmen especially. Like, you have to go almost above and beyond, I think.
So that's huge. She even says there's a stigma of car salespeople. She even says you almost have to go above and beyond, which is 100% accurate. You have to go above and beyond. Listen, the pile of people that are sitting at your dealership, you don't want to be like them. If you want to stand out, stand out. Go above and beyond, just like customers are telling us. You have to go above and beyond because the stigma that she just mentioned is real with almost all customers. So you need to instantly get around it by going above and beyond. Let's just listen to our clientele that's telling us what to do. Let's move on.
Like, what could the salesman do to
Make themselves stand out.
I think just be as real and personable as you can be. Like, maybe not share your life story, but you're going to pick up on little things here and there that you have in common with your customer.
So the salesman, if you probably couldn't hear, but he asked simply this: what can we do as salespeople to stand out for our customers? That was the question. And she gave some great insight on this. Just be as normal and as natural as possible. The worst thing you could become as a sales professional is a salesman or a saleswoman. You just want to be you with the right tactics and the right techniques to help people move forward. You don't want to be a salesperson, because if you sound like a salesperson, you're a salesperson. And once you're a salesperson, it's done. It's done in the customer's eyes. Okay? They just want to work with normal people. Just be normal. Learn the techniques, learn the scripts, learn the objections, learn the rebuttals, and make them you by practice drilling, rehearsing, because you have to be normal. The worst thing you could become and sound like is a salesperson.
You know, like church acquaintances or school or, you know.
The common ground.
Right. One of the number one things.
So she tells us right away, common ground. Look for things. She's telling us, just get common ground with maybe things that are going on, church people in our neighborhood. If you can find, she's just saying right there, just find some common ground and visit with me. Just get to know me a little bit, right? Just get to know me a little bit. That is important. You know, and as you do that, you're going to know how to get that proper rapport, and it comes naturally. I always say rapport comes naturally because we're humans, right? We want to get to know each other. So if you have true interest in somebody and you're getting to know them a little bit, that rapport is going to come naturally. Maybe bumper stickers on their car, maybe what they're wearing, maybe a t-shirt they have on that says something. There's natural rapport that can come instead of you just randomly reaching for rapport where it's real hard and kind of they know what you're doing. She tells us, find common ground. Find common ground.
Things that I can tell you that might help you out a little bit. Please don't tell me about your previous drug problems. You know, don't go into your family details like that. Not the mess.
Yeah.
Because all that's going to do is make me very leery, you know, wanting to put down my social, birthday, anything. I don't want my daughter's information out there. I don't want you having her number. You could be clean and sober for 20 years, but please don't bring up those kind of issues.
Okay. So she literally brought something up that's very important. She says, if you want some advice, I got some advice. She said, don't tell me about your dirty laundry, pretty much. She had an experience, what you don't see on the video, she had an experience with a previous salesperson in the past where he literally dumped everything. Hey, I used to be a drug addict. I'm clean and sober, but I used to be a drug addict. I had all these issues, but I'm good now, right? I'm good 20 years good. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. You might as well have just did a line off the table while you're talking to her because it's all over. She literally tells us this is all over. Listen, I'm going to try to give this person my social now, my private information, my home address. If he's been doing drugs, he's probably fucking burglarized stuff, right? Don't be a dumb shit. That's stupid. First off, don't even need to be talking about yourself that much. You need to let them talk about themselves. You need to learn about them. But one thing you never do is air out dirty laundry, drama, any of that nonsense. So don't do it. Hopefully nobody on here has done it. And if you have done it, hopefully you learned from it. But they're telling us, don't do that. It's going to make us feel uncomfortable, and we're not going to work with you. And you don't see it on the video, but guess what she did not do? She did not work with that salesperson. She stayed with him about 45 more minutes before she could bounce, and she got the hell out of there and never went back. So don't air out your dirty laundry. And listen, if you've had a past, who cares? You're obviously building yourself, right? But don't tell them about your dirty laundry, because here's the deal. That's all they're going to remember. Just like she said, it don't matter if you're 20 years sober. You might as well just do a bump right there with her. Hey, you want to get fixed? Let's fix up together. You might as well just done that. Don't air out your dirty laundry. Let's move on.
And if you have a customer that comes in and says, hey, I saw this guy a few years ago. I cannot for the life of me remember his name, but he had shoes to match everything. This is what he did in his former career. You know, and he's like full of energy. And I know at some point he was a supervisor. Don't look at me like you don't know what I'm talking about and say he no longer works here. Maybe go through the effort of trying to figure out who that might be.
Okay, so great one. She's talking about somebody comes into this. She's went to a dealership before, and she literally asked for a specific person, and somebody told her, that person don't work here anymore. When she knew they did, she knew that they had became a manager and that they did work there, and she just got blatantly lied to. So she went through it a little deeper than what you see on the video, but that is stupid. If somebody comes in and asks for somebody, hey, is Jason here? Jason who? Get the last name. Yeah, I'll go find them. If you know they work there, I'll get them for you. And then you go take care of it, and you get them and you pass them on. Because here's what's going to happen. This specific scenario, later on she tells us that literally if that person just would have went and got this now manager and brought him back and introduced, or brought him back and said, hey, here he is, such and such, whatever, did the introduction, she would have worked with him. It would have been an honest thing to do. But that's not what happened. She just got lied to. Hey, you don't work here anymore, I can help you. No, that's not how you should be doing that. Listen, if somebody comes in for somebody else, just get somebody else. Because all you're doing is opening up somebody else's wallet and taking money out of it. And you're making us all look like assholes. So don't perpetuate the black eye we already have. Just be honest. Be honest. Or get the hell out of the game.
Do you like being left alone for long periods of time when you're in a dealership, like salesmen just leave you?
Not necessarily.
Do you want to be informed about what the next step, like what's going to happen next?
Yes.
Okay, so I asked the question, do you like being left alone for long periods of time when you're on the dealership showroom? And you see a little bit of it. She said, not necessarily. No. Listen, nobody likes to be left alone on the showroom. You should never be setting your customers down and leaving them for any extended period of time, maybe 15, 20, 30 seconds. But you need to be with them. You need to stay with them. Not only that, but I asked her another vital question. The question was simply this. Do you feel like it's important to tell you what's going to happen in the future? Like, I'm going to tell you this is what's about to happen, this is what's about to happen. And she said yes. You don't see it on the video, but she really goes into it. Listen, if people know what's about to happen, they're not in fear. The only time a customer can be in fear is if they don't understand what's going to happen next. And a lot of times, customers don't understand what's going to happen next because our asses just leave them sitting out there in mystery. So, I mean, all we're doing is building up the bullshit that we have to face later because it's going to be harder to help them get their deal and get your deal. So start telling people, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to go do this. I'm going to present you with these figures and we'll go over them together and we'll figure out a way to work it out. What we're going to do is I'm going to let you drive the vehicle, okay? I'm going to drive it off the lot and then we'll switch. You know, tell people what's going to happen. If you tell them the next step, they're not in mystery. And if they're not in mystery and they're in the know, then you're going to get less no's, if that makes sense. So tell people what's going to happen. They know pretty much what's going to happen, but don't leave people, don't leave people sitting for long periods of time, and always tell them what's going to happen next. It just makes them feel more comfortable. Let's move on.
Customers are really exposed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we're giving you our date of birth, our social security number, and our full-on finances. I've been at both ends. I've been bad credit. I've been really good credit. But not only are you exposed to like like if you have bad credit, you know, that embarrassment, but you're also kind of exposing yourself to fraud anywhere you go, where you give out all your financial information like that. So having as much integrity as possible, you know, with your customers,
It's vital.
really, really helps.
Okay, so she talks about the exposure that customers have to go through. She's right. Listen, we don't think about it like this because we're there in the game all day long, every day, 6 days a week, right? 5 days a week, 6 days a week, we're there. So we get numb to it. But we're literally asking people for some very important, very personable stuff. So you need to have that empathy going into it. You need to have that thought from the customer's standpoint going into it. Listen, I'm going to be asking these people for their vital information, their social, their date of birth, and I'm going to see some vital information that could be embarrassing for them, or they could be kind of ashamed of. So you need to go at it at that angle where, hey, it's not a big deal. You need to go at it from the advocate standpoint. Listen, I'm here to help you standpoint. Because if you go at it numb, then there's no emotion there, and you just become a robot at that point, and the customers ain't comfortable with that. They need to know that you're there for them and know that they are opened up to a lot of worries. She tells us right here, listen, I'm opening up everything to you. Not only am I opening up that, but I'm also opened up for fraud now. If I don't know you, you could steal my identity. There's a lot of issues that customers are worried about. They're not just worried about, is the payment gonna fit? No, there's a lot of things going on in their mind. So it's our job to help them be comfortable as possible and reassure them that they're in a professional environment with a professional, that you're going to help them in the most efficient way possible, in the most professional way possible. You need to put them at ease because there is worries that they don't tell us about, just like this.
My older daughter, when she was here trying to buy a car with the whole cosigner thing, he kept on trying to get her into like everything that she wanted to get into. And sometimes that's not always what's best either, especially, you know, for the younger kids. Like, you know, insurance on chargers is more than what you would think they would be. Like, 4-door car, but insurance is incredibly high on those. And she was wanting a charger or a dart, and like he just wasn't seeing that overall she cannot.
Okay, so what she goes into is her daughter and her went to a dealership, and her daughter wanted a charger or a dart, and it was more of a sportier car. And instead of visiting and giving options, what the salesman did was kept showing her things that were way more expensive, and she went into it a little deeper off camera, but she said that insurance was an issue. Obviously, the payment wasn't just the payment. Obviously, there's insurance payment that goes with that. But the salesman wasn't hearing it. What the salesman was doing was taking her from a charger to a dart, but it was all the same because she was a young driver. Insurance was a lot higher. So instead of doing that, what she did end up doing is getting with a professional and him sitting him down and just explaining to him, listen, I know you want this, I know you want this, but here's the reality of the situation. Why don't we go ahead, since it's the first time you're getting a vehicle, let's get you something economical, let's get you something safe and reliable, and let's get you something affordable, and then later on down the line when you establish things with everybody, then you can get the charger, the dart, whatever you want. But right now, being the first time you've ever done it, let's do it like this, and let's look at some of these options, because we have these options and they're way more affordable, and it's going to make much, much more sense this way, so you can build your credit without having worry of any financial loss. That's important. You want to be the professional that looks people and learns their situation and then offers your professional opinion. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've done it hundreds, if not thousands of times. You need to give people options, because this is the reality of the deal. Cars are not just a payment, it's insurance, it's gas. There's a lot of things that go into it. So you need to be the logical standpoint sometimes. Like in this situation, be the professional, not the amateur. The amateur just keeps trying to pound that square peg through a round hole on that one car or that two cars. No, know your products, know the position your customer is in by asking great questions, and help them figure out the problem they're trying to fix and make things affordable. Let's move on.
For that, like, what good's it going to do anybody if that car gets repossessed?
For sure.
She's got a repossession on her record, and then, you know, how's she gonna come back and buy anything?
So it's important to be, I think it's important to be a professional enough where you can give a true professional opinion of the situation after visiting with people and getting to know their situation.
Like, for instance, if I was selling you a car and you were a little bit on the fence, would the question like, what if throw in like a free hat or something? Like, you're like just about to do the deal and you're like, I'm not entirely sure. Does that seem pushy to offer like free merchandise, or is that just something like, well, okay?
I don't think so. Now, if you know that somebody's like really...
So what was asked, if you didn't hear it, was, do you think it's appropriate, say we're on the edge of a deal at the end of the deal and something's thrown in, like, hey, if we throw in a hat or throw in a shirt, we've all done it, right? Or throw in this, can we wrap the deal up today, right? Is that appropriate is what he's asking. And she says, yeah, it's kind of, even, I don't know if it's on the camera, but she said it's kind of expected, right? To try to antagonize me to go ahead and move forward in the deal. She says it's kind of expected and it's not unprofessional. And this question, I've heard it before and I've never heard anybody say, no, that's not professional. So she says, no, it's not unprofessional at all. It's, you know, it's timing. That's what she says. Because when if somebody comes in, for instance, and the situation is where you just broke down numbers, her whole budget in her life to try to find every dime to help her make sure it fits within that budget. And you did all that and the numbers still don't fit, and you look at her and say, hey, what if I throw in this hat? Your timing's off and the situation doesn't bear it. It has to correlate, right? Your timing is important and you got to know your situation in order to do this. But if it's somebody that comes in and they're right there on the edge and they're just playing that I got to win game kind of thing, hey, let's do this. Let's throw you in a Dodge hat. Let's throw you in a Jeep hat and let's roll this deal up today. Nothing wrong with doing that in that situation, but it's a situational thing.
Like my last interaction with Jason, I was more concerned about finances and the overall big picture. You probably don't want to go there with that. But if you know that they just really want a car, they really need a car, or they're looking for the bells and whistles, I think tinted windows are always the way to go. You know.
So given the situation, as far as their situation and everything that's went into that, if it's you feel like you guys had a good time and they just want to win and be finished with it, something like that, then hey, how about this? We tint the windows, throw a hat.
Okay, so the question was this. If we're close to the deal and it's just not working out, if I say to you, hey, let me go get my sales manager, we'll try to figure it out. Does that make you feel uncomfortable? And she said, no, I see it as you trying to help me. Now, I've heard this question asked tons of times, and there's tons of different answers, but here's typically the answer. She said, no, I feel like you're trying to help me get the deal that I want. I've heard that tons of times, but I also heard, well, you know, I don't want to deal with that other person. I don't necessarily want to deal with that other person. So an easier way to ask this, instead of, hey, I'm going to go get my manager, let you visit with him, is I have an idea. You know what? You're looking down at the paper. You know what, Lisa? I have an idea. I'll be right back. Boom. Then you go get them and bring them out. Okay? That's the way I would do it. I would set it up with I have an idea. You guys have hopefully all been trained on that. Hey, I got an idea. Boom. Then go get your manager when you know you don't have anything left in the tank to try to close on. That's how I would do it. But she tells you, listen, no, I think you're going in there to try to help me. I think it's expected for you to go in there and try to help me get a better deal. Let's move on.
Dodge hat. You want to do the deal? See how it don't correlate? It don't make sense. So,
Like if, for instance, we're talking about the deal and the price is just not what you're wanting, and I say something along the lines of, well, let me go get my sales manager and see what we can do. Is that something? And then I just get up and leave and go grab him. Is that like comfortable, uncomfortable?
No, I see that you're trying to help me, but don't just leave me alone with your sales manager.
Boom. But don't just leave me alone with your sales manager. And you're going to hear what she says next.
Either.
Stay.
That can be like me coming in my situation by myself. If I've already built a rapport with you, don't leave me with a finance guy, you know.
stranger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Like you're kind of your client's advocate.
For sure.
So what she says is, don't leave me alone with somebody that I don't know. You just brought this person into the game, into the negotiation or whatever. You just brought your manager out, and then you leave me with them, and I don't even know them. I'm comfortable with you. Stay with me. You're supposed to be my advocate. That's what she goes on to tell us. Listen, you're my advocate. You're on my side helping me put the deal together. You're my broker. You're my agent. Stay with me. Don't abandon me in this. Is pretty much what she's saying. I've heard this hundreds of times before. Don't leave your customers with managers. Stay there. Keep your mouth shut so your manager can do the talking, but stay in the game. Keep your customers comfortable.
Question: do you feel like they're on the same team? You just kind of answered that, but in a way. But you feel like they're on your same team almost, and then like they're going to almost like your agent, almost going in to talk to the manager, be like, "This is what we need to get." Like,
he asked simply, "Do you feel like this whole situation? I'm on your side, and I'm going in there for you, pretty much." And she says, yes, you're the advocate. You're the one helping me. I need my agent to help me get my deal. That's the way it should be. She even says, that's the way you should sell it to me. That's the way it should be perceived, is you're on my side. It's me and you against the desk to get me the great deal. That's the perception that customers want. She tells you that's how it should be perceived. Let's move on.
Basically,
chemistry that good?
what I'm saying is, that's the way you need to make
That's
me
the way
feel.
it needs. Yeah. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
you need to, you're not just a car salesperson, you're your client's advocate.
Right.
For sure.
Okay.
Like I know everybody has to make money off the deal. You know, and I believe he came as close as he could to giving me the most accurate numbers on what everybody was going to make. Yeah, I don't know that you could do that for every customer. I don't know how that works. Because not everybody's going to understand that if Fletcher just made $200 to $500 off of every vehicle, he would not have built all these lots. He would not be able to offer the prices that he does on the vehicles.
Absolutely.
And he wouldn't be able to employ everybody. Yeah.
I think if it's explained in a professional manner like that in some negotiations, in most negotiations, if that's just explained, listen, I totally understand and I get where you're coming from.
Okay, so this is a great one. Right here, she says, we went a little deep into it off camera, but she literally said, listen, everyone should understand this is a business and that money has to be made. So if you're losing on a deal or if you're cutting your costs so deep, just explain to people. She says it right there, just explain this is a business. There wouldn't be these lights, there wouldn't be the phones ringing, there wouldn't be these big buildings unless there was a profit to be made. Profit is not a bad word. Listen, people know that logically. If you explain it to them professionally, listen, I'd love to do that, but unfortunately, we got these lights, we got our secretary, the phone's ringing, we got the internet, we got this millions of dollars of inventory, we got this nice building, we got this nice service department, we want to take care of our customers. If you explain it to people that, listen, this is a business, in a professional way, explain to them like there has to be profit in order to run an operation like this. But you explain it in a very professional manner, people are okay with it because they understand it at the end of the day. They literally understand it. So you have to go at it like that. But make sure you know how to do it professionally or you'll sound like an asshole.
Make sure that you can do what you're telling your customer that you can do.
Here's another one. She says, always make sure you can do what you're telling your customer you can do. She don't go into it on this, but off camera, she literally told me and the salespeople that when she bought her last van at another location, that it had scuff on the front bumper when she went out to take delivery of it, but it didn't have it. It didn't have it when she was looking at it. And she asked the salesperson, hey, can we get that fixed? That wasn't on there. And he said, yes, we can get it fixed. She owns the car for 4 years. It still hasn't been fixed because every time she has went up there to try to get it fixed, they give her the runaround. Listen, and she just tells us, make sure you can do what you tell me you can do before you tell me you can do it. Just be real with me. Find out from your manager. She says it. Find out from your management that a yes or a no before you tell me something like that. That way I don't have a bad expectation. Or that way I don't have a certain expectation that cannot be done. Just be real with me. Ask your manager. If you don't know if you can do it, ask your manager. That's all she's saying.
Yeah.
Because management may say, nope, we can't do that. It's above our cost. We can't.
Any pet peeves or deal breakers that weren't brought up?
Just watch your body language and your facial expressions.
None of this.
Right. Like, this is always in my brain.
So one of the sales people, Zach, asked, what were any last deal breakers, anything that was a deal breaker? Well, you can't see it on here, but she literally talks about the last deal she got, which is not the best situation. But she talks about when the salesman goes back in the tower, she's watching the salesman go in the tower, and she sees a manager do this, like wrap it up, like hurry up, with an expression on his face, like hurry the hell up, just wrap this thing up already, because the salesman that was helping her was new. And that moment, she knew in her gut that she should walk out. She even says, I should have walked out, because I knew what that meant. I knew what that meant. I seen the expression on his face. I knew what that, wrap this bitch up and let's get her down the road. It's literally what she tells me off camera. And she knew right then I should have followed my gut and left. Listen, body language is huge. Now, can you control what a dumbass manager does when they do something stupid like that? No. But she literally goes on to tell us later on, I don't know if it's in here, but she said, listen, I gave him the deal because he was nice and I kind of knew him and he was new. So I gave him the deal, but I shouldn't have. She says, listen, if you are professional and real nice and respectful and apologize for something like this, I'm going to still buy the car if I trust you. But listen, pay attention to your body language. That's what she tells us. Listen, pay attention to your face, pay attention to your body language, pay attention to the way you are using every single thing about you. It's important.
Do you want to be contacted that night or the next day, or like
Just to like follow up.
If it's like the actual, like looking at the car and I have not purchased it, yeah, definitely the next day. But if I go...
Okay, so here's what they're asking. How soon is too soon to follow up? If you look at a vehicle and leave, I don't know if you could hear them, if you look at the vehicle and then leave, when should I follow up? Is the next day too soon, or should I do it a couple days? She literally tells us, no, right away, you should try to get the deal, and if I'm interested, by the end of the next day, I should know, so you should call me the next day. The next day, for sure, always reach out to me the next day. So listen, no matter what they say, give me a couple days, give me this, give me that, always reach out to them the next day. I always say reach out to them later on that afternoon, but always reach out to them the next day. Don't wait. Reach out to them the next day and have something to say. Have a certain way to ask them for the deal, not just what'd you think. Okay? Have a certain way to ask them for the deal and keep the business moving forward. Because she tells us, don't wait a couple days. The next day, for sure, reach out to me. If I haven't purchased it and I just got done looking at it and I wanted to think about it or whatever they say, yeah, the next day, you need to hit me up the next day. Too many salespeople don't follow up after they want the easy lay down customer. So they don't even try to attempt to follow up with people. Listen, follow up like a beast and you're going to get more deals. Don't be like other people. Follow up. She's telling us what to do.
On a lot, not knowing or having any type of connection there, it's definitely going to boil down to a personality thing and knowledge, probably.
Perfect.
Okay, so to end, simply she says, if I just pull on a lot and I don't know anybody, and I have no idea who I'm going to be working with, it's going to boil down to a couple things: personality and knowledge. So you need to know how to be personable, get the rapport, have a systematic process of how you do things so you can be comfortable in your own skin, so your personality can come out, and so you can be knowledgeable about everything and help transfer that knowledge over to the customer on what they want, okay, and what they came to buy. If you can do that, you're going to help people buy a lot of cars, and there's going to be a lot of business for you. Listen, all you have to do is listen to the customers, because they're telling us how they want to buy. They're telling us how they want to purchase things. So let's let them purchase what they came to purchase. Let's stop getting in the way. Listen, they tell us what we already know. Hopefully this video reinforces everything we already know and everything you should have already been taught. But if not, hey, it's a customer telling us exactly what she is comfortable with and what she's not comfortable with. These are just a few things. I have hundreds of these videos. So pay attention to what your clients are telling you. It's important. Listen, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit subscribe. That way you can get all this fresh content. You could follow me also on TikTok. It's Recycle Guru on TikTok. Same on Instagram. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I got a lot more content coming your way. Go sell something. You might as well have just did a line off the table while you're talking to her.